What is up, everybody? Welcome to Backlog and Beyond, the podcast where we talk about the old video games we want to beat and the new ones we play instead. I'm your host, Nathan Hawkins.
And I'm your other host. Who does number 2 work for? And this is episode number 49. I don't get that reference.
Oh, it's from Austin Powers. Who does number 2 work for? Yeah, you tell that turd who's boss.
I don't like Austin Powers. I'm sorry.
Oh, I love it so much.
It's okay. I know we were debuting the new theme song a week early. Wow.
Look at us. I know. So we have a new theme song, and we have a bunch of announcements, actually. So as you know, our 50th episode is going to be coming up next, and it's going to be a big one just because we're going to be having a bunch of guests on. We're going to be playing games. It's going to be really fun. We're also doing our giveaway, which we mentioned earlier and in a few episodes back. So with that information, I'm going to be doing some posts on Instagram, Twitter, and our Discord. They're all going to have their own little different ways that you can get involved. So I think if you do it multiple times, if you follow us on Instagram, if you follow us on Twitter, jump in the Discord, that's like 3 entries right there for the giveaway. And we're giving away a $50 gift card. So just be aware, pay attention to the social posts that go out, and follow those instructions, and then you can get entered into the giveaway, which will happen next Saturday.
Live on air.
Exactly, and it's going to be live. We actually took a little hiatus from streaming just to get some things ready, and we've also been kind of busy. But we're going to be moving over from Twitch to YouTube. So no longer streaming on Twitch as of now, and streaming on YouTube right now. Actually, we're actually streaming privately just to practice to make sure this actually doesn't, get effed up.
Chances are it will.
It probably will. But so we're testing it out now, and we'll see how it goes. But so it's exciting. We're making a lot of changes, a lot of fun, different decisions. But anyway, that's what's going on. And we had a lot to talk about today. But first, we're going to jump into what we've been playing this week. Why don't you start off, Jeff?
I really didn't have time to play anything all week. It was most of the days I was working double jobs, but yesterday I got the whole day off.
Nice.
And I played some Disco Elysium, and
stuff.
that was pretty fun.
Cool.
I finally started knocking out some tasks. I finally found my shoe. I found some ammonia so that I could explore the dead body that was hanging from the tree, and it made it worse. So I still have not checked out the dead body in the tree.
Oh my god.
So I've checked some things out. It's a very slow moving game, and it's normally not something I would want to continue playing, but I'm just something about it gets me.
That's awesome.
I saw an article the other day that the guy who narrated the whole game has never acted before.
Wow.
And he had such a unique voice.
I know. It's almost like they hired him just for his voice. Like, your voice would be really good in a game. He's like, what are you talking about? It's like, no, really.
It's kind of like John Marston. But
that's awesome.
I started being really critical of his deliveries and stuff, but it's just really good and really interesting. I think that it brings a new perspective from him to read the lines differently than a professional would.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Yeah, I also was very busy this week. I actually been staying up super late, just not sleeping, and so I haven't been able to get up early every morning. But I was able to get up, for a couple mornings. This morning I got up super early. And we just celebrated my wife's birthday, so that was a fun filled day with
I forgot to text her.
Oh, that's okay. We had just a day with some family came over, just kept it very small and low key. Pretty much almost our entire family's vaccinated at this point, our whole pod. So except for me, obviously. Yeah.
I got my first legit haircut today.
Oh, nice.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
It looks good.
Yeah. Thank you. It feels so dark because it's been platinum for so long.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Besides,
hey, it looks good.
Was it always that brown?
It's a nice fade going on.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, I did get a chance to play No Man's Sky. I created some antimatter, and now I'm doing the whole thing where you can jump from system to system in your galaxy. So
nice.
There was one planet that I landed on that was extremely high security. I don't think I've ever been on a planet like that, where you don't actually have to do anything. You just have to land on the planet and be there, and they just start shooting. And I was freaking out because I was like, this is permadeath, and I need to not die. I was just running the whole time for my life just to do what I had to get done. And then I just took off. I was like, all right, I'm done on this planet. I'm out. And then I've been playing a ton of Spiritfarer. I think I played maybe 3 hours this week.
Oh, cool.
Been exploring the northwest part of the map. I ended up coming across a random character that actually had an item that I had to like collect for another character. Like it was for a spirit
Oh.
that I had to like get on my boat. So now I actually had I had 7 spirits on my boat at one point. Um, and then it turns out that one of the storylines of one of the characters gets really sad really quickly. You're like, oh no, this is really sad.
Yikes.
And so I have now also just left. I have taken 2 more spirits to the Everdor. And so now,
Oh,
yeah,
so now you're at 3.
yeah, no, I'm, because I had 7, now I have 5. I have 5 on board.
No, I meant you've taken 3.
Oh yes, I've taken 3 total to the Everdor. Correct. Yeah, and man, I've cried every time. Like not as hard as the first time, but every time there's just like some like, you know, like that moment. And I'm also like a quarter of the way of like getting through all the cooking recipes and.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's like 93 recipes.
No.
Yeah, I'm a quarter of the way through.
I don't even want to
think about it.
Do you have to cook them all?
No.
At some point?
No.
Okay.
No, you don't have to. I think it's just one of those things where like if you want to find like their favorite food, then it's just a matter of just like experimenting with all the different kinds of like ingredients and food you get and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I did find out you can actually cook wood in the stove and that'll turn into coal. That was kind of interesting.
Oh, that is pretty cool.
Yeah. So I was like, that's cool.
Huh.
And I figured out how to make.
You find it out by accident, or did you just look it up?
Yeah, accident. I was like, let's just see what happens. And then I also was able to make glass. I figured out how to do that. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
So I've been trying to avoid reading as much as possible, but then there's times I'm just like, I just need to get to this next spot. I have to read the wiki. So
yeah,
do what I got to do. Cool. So that's what we've been playing this week. Moving on to the news. And yeah, so we got a lot of news actually this week. It was pretty.
Yeah, there's a good amount.
Yeah. So why don't you start us off with your news, Jeff?
Well, it looks like Discord walked away from the Microsoft deal, and so they're going to remain for now independent, which good news for me, but probably bad news for Xbox players who were hoping to have Discord integrated with the Microsoft Xbox system. Right. Yeah, I was all ready to jump up to Gilded. I was like, no.
I actually checked out Gilded because GG.
Yeah, they're moving there exclusively now.
Yeah, so I joined just to check it out, and actually, I see what you're saying. Like the whole like the thread conversation where like it's just like it's more specific, like and targeted towards conversation. So like you don't have these long open threads. Like it's actually really good.
Get lost.
Yeah, it's good for good for communities that are like talking all the time. You know, whereas our Discord, it's very slow paced and it's not really necessary. But yeah, I could see how like that would benefit in the long run if you do end up having a community that's just like like just all over the place and just constantly talking and super active. So it's pretty cool.
I think it'd be really nice to get in there early.
Yeah, but, for sure.
I'm less worried now that Microsoft is not going to buy Discord for now.
True.
The other news I have is there is reportedly going to be a remake of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, and it's going to be made by Aspire Media. Media.
Media.
And yeah, so people are really excited for that game. It was actually reported today that they're going to move away from the turn-based style of the combat, so it could look more like an action RPG.
Oh.
But that is a game that people have been wanting to be remade for a really long time. And it's always a game I wanted to play, but like I really did not like that turn-based combat. It wasn't like Final Fantasy VII style. It was kind of like you're standing in front of them and you're taking turns just hitting each other.
Oh, gotcha.
And it was pretty frustrating, so I never got through that game. But awesome. I am interested in playing the remake.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, what about you?
So we got a couple things. PlayStation renewed, apparently. I don't know how people figured this out, but I think they saw something where like the trademark got renewed for PlayStation Home, which I know you and I remember PlayStation Home pretty well because we would hang out at each other's home quite often, just hang out and just like talk and do dumb shit. I forget what we did, but
you say that, but we never owned a PlayStation 3 at the same time. I bought yours.
Didn't we hang out at PlayStation Home together?
No, I think we looked at, like, I may have sat on your bed and watched you do it, but I think you did it with, like, Marvin.
Oh, that's what it was. It was with Marvin. Holy crap. Yeah. Wow. My brain
I know.
doesn't
but I definitely gave it a shot.
All right.
And then there was tasks you can do there to get, like, free PlayStation 1 games.
Yeah.
Which I did. Yeah. There was a community trying to keep it alive by, like, restoring it themselves. Yep. But now...
Yeah.
Now, hopefully we get this.
Yeah, well, they were like, did we just will this into existence? Like, is this a thing because of us? So it's kind of cool to see PlayStation Home might be having a comeback. Yeah. Just have to see.
I think there's been a lot of news. Like, if you look at like Rec Room, it's worth over $1 billion now. And
right.
I think PlayStation wants to get in on that.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna lean more into the PSVR side of it though,
Okay.
to give them their own kind of VR chat. But I just do hope there was also a 2D
I
option.
think there would be, because that would be kind of silly to like exclude just,
That
anybody
would
from joining, and
it would suck.
like exclude people from being able to buy like skins and buy custom
Yeah,
shirts, and like I don't think they would do that, but
it's saying no to money.
yeah,
But I
exactly.
mean, it would nudge me into getting a PSVR too.
True, that's true. Yeah, so there was that, and I think the biggest news this week was PlayStation is backtracking on their removal of the digital stores for PlayStation 3, PSP, and PS Vita.
Good.
They heard the people and they said, "Okay, fine, sorry, we're not gonna
You were
do it.
right.
You're right, we're wrong."
PlayStation, PSP is still like that's still going down, but
Oh, yeah,
Vita
okay,
and 3 are still here.
gotcha. Okay,
Now give me some sales so I can buy stuff.
right?
I don't want to buy
Seriously.
15-year-old games at full price.
So I think it's a very smart move on PlayStation's end, because so many people
Yeah.
are so upset about it, and why not? What's the harm in keeping it up? And people are still. It's again another opportunity for people to buy old games and make more money. And why
Hmm.
do that? It's hard to come by some of these games anyway. So by them removing it, it's like, well, good luck getting any more money then for. And
I
honestly, it
know,
helps the
like,
developers too. Like the developers still make money off of that after the fact, I think.
yeah, and people are still making Vita games, so I
Hmm.
was surprised that they tried that route at all.
Right. So anyway, yeah, because I think after a certain amount of time, the developer makes 100% of the income on games. I think for
I
like
didn't know that, so they're probably like, we're not making any more money. What are we still doing here?
yeah, I think for the first, like, it's kind of like movie theaters.
Hmm.
Like when the movies come out, like initially, like the
They get a
profits of the
bigger
theater
cut.
get exactly, they get a bigger profit at the very beginning, and then as the movie plays out and like those ticket sales continue, the theater gets less, and then the film distributor and all those people, like the studio, they get more of the money back.
Got it. Got it.
So I think it's the same thing with games, where Best
I would
Buy will
think that
get
would
some
be
of the
the other way
profit.
around, right? Because like, wouldn't second run theaters want more money?
I don't know.
Am I crazy?
I don't know.
I might be crazy.
I think I did this research a while ago because I was curious as to how how studios make money, and
Hmm.
it seems like that's the way that they do it, and that's how theaters make money ultimately. Is theaters make more money off of concessions, but initially they do get some kind of ticket sale, or was it is it the studio? I forget. It was something to do with somebody's getting a large chunk of the profit of the ticket sales at the beginning, and then as the movie continues on, they get less of that percentage.
Got it.
So I may
Okay.
have to look it up again, but
Yeah,
I
we'll figure it
something
out.
like that. But anyway, because of PlayStation's good idea, good move, I think I brought up the idea of just doing a show based on companies that made some horrible decisions, some bad moves, and that caused them to no longer exist. So that brings us on to our main topic: greatest game companies that no longer exist. So I've kind of put together a list of 5 top studios, or some big studios that pretty much are no longer exist in this world. And I'm just gonna basically tell Jeff the history of kind of what happened, and yeah, and go from
Yeah.
there, and just kind of give you guys a little bit of info. Um, so starting with the first company, we have THQ. So this was actually a quote that I found from an article called "The Gamer." So this was, I'll just read it as it was. If you liked
Okay.
WWE WrestleMania or WWF SmackDown, then you may recognize THQ, the developer
Yeah.
of the popular wrestling titles.
Hmm.
THQ came to the video game industry in 1989. The name was an acronym for Toy Headquarters. The game developer and publisher had a promising start as it got exclusive deals with entertainment giants such as WWE, Nickelodeon, Disney, Pixar, and DreamWorks were all contracted with THQ. It also obtained and created a ton of subsidiaries. It seemed like THQ had a good shot to last, but they never saw much success. Due to a lack of mainstream notoriety, the company suffered financial struggles, which led to THQ's default on a $50 million loan. Because the company did nothing to boost their image, it led to their death. The publisher filed for bankruptcy in 2012 and was forced to liquidate all assets. Nordic Games purchased the trademark in 2014, but the name THQ is collecting dust. And then another little piece of information, according to Wikipedia, many of its big budget games sold poorly, despite having favorable reviews as the recession hit. Its hold on kids games based on Nickelodeon TV shows and Pixar movies, slipped as kids turned to free online games playable on the internet. So basically, it just
It,
seems like they kind of were trying to stick to an old method of distribution, and they just weren't able to keep up. I also read somewhere that the PS3, like they almost assumed everybody was going to go to the PS3, the Xbox 360, and that didn't happen. People just didn't move over, and they were like developing all these games for like PS3 and Xbox 360, and nobody made the initial shift. So they lost a lot of money in
Yikes.
that initial launch of
So
those
you
two
mean for
systems.
like at the first year usually when people have a hard time getting
Mm-hmm.
those consoles?
Yep. So they were
Well, they
like,
were insanely priced when they came out.
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So like they lost so much money just on like having all these games ready for like next gen consoles and nobody bought them. Like in comparison. They lost so
Dang.
much money on that. Um so yeah, basically it was just some bad business decisions, but somebody said that it wasn't one thing that took down THQ. It was like a million spider bites basically. That
Yeah.
was the
I
way
mean,
that it
like
was described.
they made some of my favorite games like WWE
Mhm.
SmackDown, Here Comes the Pain,
Yes.
Undisputed 3. Those were both excellent games, but like just like their business decisions, you'd see those games came out every year, and it was
Right.
such a minor change that they were keeping a holding pattern because it was a proven moneymaker.
Right.
They got a lot of, it looks like, contracts for games that came from movies. Like they did Earthworm Jim, The
Mhm.
Mask, Hunchback of Notre Dame, and like even those games just felt like a reskin of another game.
Right.
Yeah, I think even as they were going down, their commitment to not doing anything new and bold probably killed them for sure.
Yeah, they were just playing it way too safe, and they were just trying to, go with well, how much money can we make off of titles that people are already familiar with, comfortable with, and that only can last for so long before people are like, all right, can I get something new and refreshing,
For sure. Yeah.
But yeah, I just remember like Red Faction. I was a big fan of that game. Like No Mercy, that was a huge one. I
Yeah.
loved No Mercy on the N64. And then also like WrestleMania 2000, SmackDown versus Raw series. They did all those. They had
Yep.
so many good games.
They did everything up until I think WWE 13, and then 2K got the rights
Oh,
and rebranded it as 2K13.
gotcha.
Yeah, and then even like so the second half of its life cycle, they just put out a new box with the new title.
Wow,
Yeah.
that sucks. So there you go. So THQ is no longer around because of some silly decisions, and too many apparently, like way too
Yeah.
many. Next on the list we have Core Design. So this is another quote from the article, The Gamer. Core Design is the studio behind the first Tomb Raider game for PlayStation. Critics regarded it as one of the best studios of the 90s. Tomb Raider would go on to become a legendary game for the PlayStation and continue to become an acclaimed game franchise. Core Design created other games for Sega Dreamcast and a few Tomb Raider titles for Game Boy Advance, but its success was short lived. The high selling yet negatively received Tomb Raider, The Angel of Darkness, killed their reputation. Core Design also struggled with internal conflicts. Tomb Raider composer Nathan McCree revealed that Tomb Raider's success was the company's downfall. Core Design split into two teams, a core group that created Tomb Raider and another who created lesser known games, which would lead to the company's passing. The conflict between the sides led to an acquisition and eventual closure of the studio. Uh, According to Wikipedia, after the critical failure of Tomb Raider, The Angel of Darkness in 2003, parent company Eidos put Crystal Dynamics, another Eidos-owned studio, in charge of Tomb Raider franchise's development. This prompted members of the core design management team and development staff to leave the company and establish a new company, Circle Studio. In May 2006, Eidos announced that independent developer Rebellion Developments had acquired Core Design's assets and staff, while the Core brand and intellectual property, including Tomb Raider, remained in Eidos' possession. In June 2006, Crystal Dynamics was confirmed to have a PSP anniversary edition of the original Tomb Raider in development. Remnants of the Core Design team under the banner of Rebellion went on to work on several titles in years since, including Shell Shock 2 Blood Trails and Rogue Warrior. Starting in January 2010, due to an expiring lease on Rebellion's Derby's offices, Rebellion Development started seeking restructuring opportunities for the studio. As no other possibility than closure was found, Rebellion Derby was closed down effective on the March 17th of 2010. So it seemed like no matter what these people did, they just could not get anything going, and it just kept on just failing and failing and failing.
They did their best.
They really did, though. Um,
I just looked up Circle Studio, and
mhm.
they did one game without warning, which was like a first person shooter.
Oh boy.
Third person shooter, I'm sorry, for PS2 and Xbox. And it got like 50% across the board in reviews.
Ugh.
And then they did like 12 DVD games. They like Blockbusters, NBA Challenge, Madagascar, Animal Trivia DVD game, The Price is Right. So
Wow.
that poor team.
That
It looks
sucks.
like they're gone too. They went
Yep.
defunct in 2007.
Yeah. It was one after the other. Just all these studios tried to like make it, and they just never went anywhere. Um, but yeah, it's interesting how they say that its success was its downfall. It's almost like they got too cocky
Yeah.
and they like got excited and they were just like, cool, this is just make Tomb Raider games and that's it. And they just kind of didn't really go anywhere else with it. Wonder what I put down here. Oh yeah, there was one game that I think that I ever played from Core Design. It was Fighting Force, and it was a beat 'em up game.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, look it up. It was I think it was up to 4 players, and I think I played it on N64 actually, from what I remember. But it was on PlayStation, I think, originally. Um, but my sister and I would play that all the time. There was like a huge like tank kind of looking dude. There was like a chick who would like do like martial arts, and they had like 2 other guys as well. But it was just basically like a beat 'em up, and it was super fun. And that was the only game I played from Core Design, like ever.
That tank dude on the cover looks fucking terrifying. Like, oh my god, like his mouth. Oh,
Yeah, it's just like a big like square like yeah.
gross, gross.
Anyway, so yeah, so then eventually, so then Crystal Dynamics now, so now they're doing all the I think they're the ones doing all the Tomb Raider stuff now, aren't they? Crystal Dynamics.
I think
Sure.
so. I think they're making those new ones.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. I don't think I've ever played the original Tomb Raider games either, though. I think I may.
I played. I never bought them, but I played my buddies, and I got a little bit into there, and I'm like, all right, that's fine.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Crystal Dynamics also did the Avengers.
Oh, that's right. That's right. They did.
Because it's all Square Enix now.
That's right. Square Enix. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So okay, moving on to the third studio, we have Lionhead Studios. The Lionhead Studios was known for its distinctly British video games and its over-enthusiastic visionary co-founder, Peter Molyneux, I think it's Molyneux, 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 who built a reputation over the years of overhyping this game, only to routinely underdeliver with the finished product. Still, separated from Molyneux's rhetoric, Lionhead's output speak for itself. The studio's 2 biggest franchises were the God Sim Black and White and the RPG series Fable, the latter of which remains one of Microsoft's biggest Xbox exclusives. However, following the release of Fable 3 in 2010, things started to go downhill for Lionhead. Disillusioned with the company's direction, Microsoft had them producing titles for the Kinect at this point. Several veteran employees left in early 2012, and Molyneux himself soon followed. Following this, Lionhead's next major release was to be Fable Legends, a cooperative action game in development for the Xbox One. However, the game was canceled by Microsoft in 2016, and Lionhead was closed down not long after, with many of the studio's employees finding work with Molyneux's new studio, 22 Cans, and 2 Point Studio, a developer founded by Lionhead co-founder Webley and several other ex-Lionhead staff members. So, yeah, so apparently they were working on what would have been essentially Fable 4, but it was going to be like only online.
And, yeah, I remember seeing like gameplay for that, and I was not interested whatsoever.
Right, and I think there was even an article that I had saved just to kind of pull it up real quick. Where was it? Here we go. It said the title is from Polygon, and it's report: Fable Legends was a $75 million project nobody wanted to work on. It's like nobody was excited for this game. They're like, I don't want to make this one. Let's just make Fable 4. Why are we doing this? So, but yeah,
who's making the new Fable, by the way? I forget.
I don't know. I should look that up real quick.
I'm doing that new Fable game.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember who's doing that. I'm also trying to remember if there was something else other than.
It is definitely Playground Games. They did the Forza Horizon.
Ah, Playground. Yes, that's right. I've actually been seeing conversations on Twitter about how people think that Playground might be the next Naughty Dog.
That would be dope. I want a good Fable game that doesn't overpromise.
Right? Seriously though.
I miss it. Like I started playing 3 because I missed it so much, and I can't get back into it. I enjoyed it the first time I played it, but now I'm like, this sucks.
This sucks.
I want to play Fable 2 again, honestly.
Oh yeah, I need to play at least one of them just to kind of get back into like the concept.
You could play Fable 1 Anniversary and 3 on Steam.
I also have my Xbox 360 still too.
Oh, I need to get.
I think I actually have it on there. I think I bought it digitally.
need to dust that off.
Yeah.
I don't think I
right,
think I just have a PS3 in
right back
storage.
here.
Oh yeah. It must be so fun to play with that 64 controller.
Yeah, isn't that great? The new design of the end. For those of you who are listening, it's an N64 controller on top of my Xbox 360 because it's just
Like, if you like the Xbox 360, but don't enjoy being content with your controls and would rather be frustrated,
let's see if I move
here's
over.
an N64 controller.
Yeah. Um, looks like there was a source from Eurogamer that said people were happy that Legends was coming to a close. We never really expected Legends to last a long time, but we never expected them to cancel it. So
Yikes.
there you go.
Did you see what else they made? They made the movies.
Yeah, the movies. I was gonna say that the movies, which
Yeah.
I freaking loved the movies. I played that
Yeah.
shit for hours on end. It was like a management sim where you like owned a movie studio, but then on top of that, you could actually go one step further and make entire like feature length films if you wanted to. You didn't have
Yeah.
to, but you could just like pick an actor, put the actors in the movie, pick the genre, and then you'd have like a budget and you'd make the movie, and then hopefully the movie would sell. And it was just such a cool idea. And I would love to see something like that come back where you actually had full reign over making an entire film and doing voice acting and adding voiceovers to it. I think it was a highly underrated game, to be honest.
For sure.
So yeah, and they also made the OG Ragdoll Kung Fu,
Oh, I like the Steam one or the PlayStation 3 one?
the Steam one.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
That one was less cool.
Yeah, but that's where it came from. So these folks. But yeah, the Fables. I'm excited for Fable 4. Fable 4. Just gotta make sure I can play it. Which honestly, though, people are starting to play with the Xbox Cloud now, and I think I could probably jump into that no problem. XCloud.
Have you tried PlayStation Now with your internet? I don't know how the cloud's gonna work.
True. I guess we'll have to see.
Yeah.
But it'd be better than trying to run it on my graphics card that probably couldn't handle it.
Yeah, you might be able to handle 1080.
Maybe. Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, so yeah, moving on to the next studio, we got two more. We got Neversoft. Article.
Yes.
This is an article by Nick Steinberg. So for gamers who grew up owning a Sony PlayStation, Neversoft's output during that era likely holds a special place in their heart. After all, this is the studio that not only created Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, but also gave us one of the best Spider-Man games of all time. While the studio hit a bit of a creative lull as the Tony Hawk games began to see diminishing returns in the late 2000s, Neversoft still managed to stay relevant by taking over the Guitar Hero franchise with Guitar Hero 3: Legends of Rock in 2007. However, that franchise too reached a saturation point before long, prompting parent company Activision to merge Neversoft with Call of Duty developer Infinity Ward. Neversoft officially closed its doors on July 10th, 2014, 20 years to the day of its founding.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder if they stuck it out a little longer just to have that nice little bow at the end.
Well, I guess with the remaining employees, they like attended a burning of the sculpture of the eyeball. They're like with their logo. They all like got together and they just burned it. It's like,
that's awesome.
I know, it's pretty cool. It's a little fun fact. But yeah, man, like I loved the Tony Hawks growing up. Like the Guitar Heroes I played. I never owned Guitar Hero, but I would go to like a friend's house play those.
I got $80 in a bunch of trading games from GameStop, and I'm like, you know what? I want that. And then like we went back and we played Guitar Hero, and we loved it. Like it was a lot more fun than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
I got several of the games after that. I think I still own a couple, but
Nice.
never kept playing them.
Sucks.
I think I made it all the way to the drum kit with Rock Band, and then that's where I dropped off.
Yeah, I never got to play Rock Band. I didn't get that far.
Rock Band drums were so fun.
Yeah, I know.
Like that was the one instrument. If you got good at that, you just were a better drummer. Like you're not a better guitar player for playing Guitar Hero.
No.
In fact, they said because of the rhythm of it, if you were a good drummer, you'd be better at Guitar Hero. The guitar, because it's all about the rhythm and timing.
That makes sense. Yeah, that sucks. I never got into not Rocksmith. Was it Rocksmith? No.
Rocksmith is the one where you're playing a legit guitar.
That's right. That's a legit guitar, and it's actually like a game too.
We played Rock Band at your house once, and I had you sing, and we did More Than a Feeling, and you're like, I don't know this song. And you still sang it, like you hit the high part. I was like, what the fuck?
What the fuck? That's amazing. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
Good times. Cool. Yeah, and then anyway, there you go. So they just basically they just kind of just died out eventually. I think they just kind of stuck with the same games, and they kind of people got over them. But yeah, I think with the merging when they brought them over to Infinity Ward, which I didn't know that till I looked it up, but Yeah, and then they worked on Modern Warfare 3. I think that was the game that they were brought onto.
Okay.
So,
Oh yeah, I did see that at the end of their list.
so there you go. Cool. So the last but not least, Visceral Games. This is also from the article by Nick Steinberg. Originally known as EA Redwood, Visceral Games created arguably some of the greatest licensed video games of all time during the early to mid 2000s, including 007, Everything or Nothing, and The Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. However, it wasn't until 2008 that Visceral became a top-tier developer with the release of Dead Space, still regarded as many as a survival horror masterpiece. The Dead Space franchise was a breath of fresh air in an era when many doubted the viability of the survival horror genre as a whole, but Visceral's success ironically ended up becoming its downfall. Emboldened by the success of the first two Dead Space titles, Electronic Arts tried to chase mainstream success with Dead Space 3 by introducing cooperative play, microtransactions, and a change in tone that moved further away from the series' horror roots. As a result, the game was not as well received as its predecessors and did not meet sales targets. Visceral's next big project was Ragtag, a Star Wars game being headed up by Uncharted director Amy Hennig. But a change in direction prompted EA to close Visceral in late 2017 and move Ragtag to EA Vancouver to finish. According to Wikipedia, the closure of Visceral, so this might be some of the information. The closure of Visceral was seen as a sign of the waning interest in publishers in making games that are strictly single player, as many of Visceral's games had been. In light of these concerns, EA's CEO Andrew Wilson stated that the reason for Visceral's closure wasn't a single player versus multiplayer game issue, but instead one based on listening to player feedback and following marketing trends. The company felt that the current design of Ragtag wasn't fitting these changes, and that the closure of Visceral and reassignment to another studio was because we needed to pivot the design. So, kind of crappy.
That sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big one for you.
Oh yeah, I loved the Dead Space franchise. Like that was the first two Dead Space were so fun, and I never played Dead Space 3, but now I'm just like, ugh, they kind of went a direction I don't want to even try out, and I think it's sitting right here. Yeah, it's right here, Dead Space 3 on my shelf, right here. I haven't even tried it. It's right there.
I think we played it for about half an hour.
Yes, we did. We did.
And no, it was not good.
Yeah, that sucks. But yeah, so they had that one. They also had so yeah, they did James Bond, Agent Under Fire. They had James Bond, Everything or Nothing, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. They did The Godfathers. Did you ever play The Godfathers?
I did not.
Those are actually really good. They're kind of like the Mafia games. But obviously it's kind of similar where you're taking over territories from the different families. They also did a bunch of the Sims 2 expansions.
I did see that. I'm like, they didn't make Sims 2, but they just
Yeah,
made other stuff for it.
yeah.
Okay.
Like my favorite was Apartment Life, which was actually one of the ones they worked on.
Got it.
And they also worked on Sims 3 Ambitions, oddly enough. But,
Tiger Woods games.
yeah, that's right. They worked on Tiger Woods games. But I also found this article too on the whole Amy Hennig thing. Apparently, like they would send stuff and they wouldn't hear back from her for like weeks, only to get back like that's not up to her standard. Like so they'd be working on this game like for weeks and weeks, and then they'd send something and they'd get an answer back. Yeah, it's not up to my standards. It's like,
Yikes.
yeah, I know. And Amy Hennig's done some amazing shit. She's done all the Uncharted games. She was the director for all those. Like she's had some huge success. But I guess they said something about like it's easier to work on something like Uncharted because you work on Nathan Drake's shirt and you're like, okay, that's fine. Problem with you work on when you work on a Star Wars project, you're going back like 600 times because you're double checking everything and it has to match what you think the Star Wars fans are gonna want. You have to be accurate, and there's like all these other things you have to take into consideration. Whereas when it's your own IP, it's like whatever. But if you're making a Star Wars game, you have to get it right, and so everything takes like 3 times as long to get done, which totally makes sense.
Yeah, you need to hire people specifically for lore, like for costumes or ship design, things like that.
So anyway, yeah,
like a dramaturgy, but for video games.
Right. There was so much more stuff that I read on Visceral too, and we easily could have done an entire episode on Visceral. But yeah, I thought this was more interesting to just kind of jump around. But anyway, so those are 5 top game studios that kind of took a dive from making some bad decisions. And there's actually a lot more out there. So if you guys actually are interested in more of those or more of these kinds of episodes, I got a lot more I could bring to the table. So just let us know. DM me.
It'd be fun to like go through a list of everything that Peter Molyneux
Oh,
promised for Fable.
oh, that'd be cool. Oh, that'd be fun. I'd love that. That'd be actually going like as Fable 4 gets closer to launch.
Yeah,
Things that,
that would be fun.
yeah, things that they promised for Fable 4. And,
And then to see if any of them are going to make it into the new game.
exactly. That'd be
That'd
really
be
cool,
fun.
actually.
Yeah.
Awesome. So there you go. So that was our main topic. Moving on to our, wait, did I forget the game sound? Oh no,
Make it with your mouth.
I don't remember it.
I don't know, and I don't listen to our podcast.
I
Is
forgot.
that a turkey?
Yeah, exactly. It's a turkey sound. I forgot to add the game on the stupid Stream Deck. I can't believe that. Well, see, now I know. And I gotta add it.
Testing.
Damn it. Anyways.
I've been listening to so much kind of funny games that whenever you say main topic, I'm like,
Exactly. Amazing. Yeah, so we're gonna be moving on to before we move on to Gaia, or give it an hour, we're gonna play a little game called Mad Libs. Where Jeff and I have like found a description of a game and we have to replace the words and we have to guess the game. So did you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, let me go. Can I get an occupation?
Let's go with gas station clerk.
My keyboard's so loud. Celebrity.
Sean Connery.
Fictional location.
Asgard. I think I've said Asgard before.
Illegal activity.
Breaking and entering.
Another occupation.
Let's go with social worker.
Organization.
Oh. Let's go with Microsoft.
Celebrity.
Let's go with Michael Myers.
And then that one's just the first celebrity again. Famous last name. No. Yeah. Yeah, right.
Washington.
Job title.
Manager.
And then organization.
Let's go with I don't know, Sony.
Cool. All right, so the player takes the role of gas station clerk Sean Connery, who, while trying to make a living on the streets of Asgard, unwittingly becomes involved in breaking and entering as a social worker for Microsoft, led by Michael Myers. Through the events of the game story, Sean Connery begins to rise through the ranks of Washington Co., becoming a manager while they battle their rival Sony. Good call on Microsoft and Sony
there. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, give me another word.
All right, I'm gonna take out
because it's. I think I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're gonna get it fairly quickly.
We'll see.
Instead of gas station clerk, it's taxi driver.
Oh.
Player takes the role of taxi driver Sean Connery.
Taxi driver. Okay, hang on. Oh, is it just Mafia?
Yeah, it's Mafia.
Nice.
9 points for you.
That's awesome.
You said Mafia like 2 minutes ago, and I was like, fuck. Because you just brought up Godfather out of fucking nowhere.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. I know I said so many like Mafia, so like games earlier, and you said Mafia Definitive Edition. Yeah, oh my god, that's hilarious. Yeah, no, I remembered Mafia because, well, yeah, taxi driver. I was like, okay.
Yeah, when I did Washington, because it was supposed to be Salieri family, and I want to say Washington family because you know exactly what I was talking about.
Yeah, if you just said Salieri, yeah, I'd have known for sure.
And that was like the hardest. Like I gave you any of the words I given you would have helped you. Like Tommy Angelo, Lost Heaven.
Yeah, I think.
And then everything else is pretty much like crime, driver, made man. Like I picked a really crappy game.
That's okay. We'll see you doing this one. Give me an adjective.
Quick.
Okay. Noun.
Tired. Sorry, that's not a noun.
Yeah, that's a descriptive.
Tire.
Okay. Let's see here. Adjective?
Tired.
Do you want to go tired? Tired?
Yeah.
That's really funny. Adjective?
Sexy.
Okay. Type of location?
Like a grocery store.
Okay. A noun?
Um, Basketball.
Okay. Let's see here. Adjective?
Sultry.
Oops. Sultry. Another noun?
Camera.
Okay. And then 2 more adjectives and another noun.
Right. Fantastic. Incredible. Pencil.
Oh my god, that's great. Okay. Let's try penis soul. Is what it was. That's what it said. It said Penicl. Penicil. Okay, here we go. Blank is a quick video game that features an open world and tire-heavy gameplay mechanics. The game is presented in a tired perspective in which the player character is controlled. The game takes place in a sexy grocery store still recovering from a basketball decades prior to the game's start, with players taking the role of a sultry camera who has been charged with fantastic, incredible pencil.
Okay. So the game starts years in advance of the actual game. And I think that's the only clue I'm going to be able to figure out.
To get a perfect 10, maybe.
Yeah.
You'll get this, I think, eventually, but...
Okay. I'm going to go Uncharted 4.
No.
Okay.
Okay. What is it? Oop. I'm going to do that. Okay, I'm going to... So quick is going to go to role-playing.
Okay, can you give me the context?
Blank is a role-playing video game that features an open world and tire-heavy gameplay mechanics.
Open world. That's... Okay. Starts out years down... Or years before. Was it years before? Or
the game takes place
in
in a sexy grocery store, still recovering from a basketball, decades prior to the game's start.
Got it. Decades prior to the game's start. Interesting. Okay. I'm just Max Payne 3.
No. Okay, I'm gonna go to change grocery store to city.
Okay, context.
The game takes place in a sexy city still recovering from a basketball decades prior to the game's start.
Oh, it's not the character. It's the city that's still recovering. Okay. Open Spider-Man.
No. Okay. Let's go with... Here we go. So tire, switching from tire to dialogue. So it is, with context, Blank is a role-playing video game that features an open world and dialogue-heavy gameplay mechanics.
Oh, crap. Okay. Dialogue heavy.
Max trying to help you out here. I'm trying to give you the easier ones.
Yeah. Dialogue heavy gameplay mechanics. It's set. The beginning of the game is set years before the game actually starts.
Well, no. Like, not before the game starts. Like, so it's still recovering from a blank decades prior to the game's start.
Oh.
Yeah. So at the start of the game, something has happened decades prior.
Okay, so The Last of Us.
No.
Damn it.
But you get the idea.
I'm on the right track now.
Yes.
I understand it a bit better now.
Okay.
That's less dialogue heavy.
Right, exactly. Okay, so let's go to changing pencil to mystery.
Okay. And what's that context?
So the game takes place in a sexy city still recovering from a basketball decades prior to the game's start, with players taking the role of a sultry camera who has been charged with incredible mystery.
Oh, The Walking Dead. No.
I'll take another guess.
That's not a real guess.
Yeah, okay,
that's not a real guess.
That's fine.
Because that starts in the beginning of the game. Okay, sorry. Can you get to the pencil part?
Sure. It's so still recovering. So blah blah blah. With players taking the role of a sultry camera who has been charged with an incredible. Let's see here. Did I mess that up? I'm gonna give this one to you as an extra
Okay.
one because I think I totally screwed you over. Um, who's been charged with solving an incredible mystery.
Solving. Ooh.
It should have been a past tense verb, or
Got it.
just
Solving
not a
an
past tense verb.
incredible
Just
mystery. Okay. Wow, I'm having a really hard time with this one.
incredible's not one of the words though. It's still yeah.
Um. Okay, so you're solving a mystery after something terrible has happened to the city a long time ago.
Mhm.
Open world.
I'll help you out again. The thing that happened to the city is not, I think, that important.
Oh.
But it
Oh.
but it just tells you like what kind of, it should help you with the actual setting.
Oh, it's Disco Elysium.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you go.
Shit, I just played this today.
Disco.
Because yeah, like
I know.
I mean,
like,
it like because I just got to the part where you're seeing how damaged the world is,
Mhm.
and got it. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so the whole thing is Disco Elysium is a role-playing video game that features an open world and dialogue-heavy gameplay.
Dialogue heavy. I should have got that.
Yeah, the game is presented in an isometric perspective in which the player character is controlled. The game takes place in a large city still recovering from a war decades prior to the game's start, with players taking the role of an amnesiac detective who has been charged with solving a murder mystery. I kind of screwed you over though with the
That's
solving,
okay.
so that's my bad. But should have been a verb, past tense verb. Or,
That is okay.
yeah.
We got it. Like I don't think that would have. I wouldn't have gotten it.
So
that
that
much
only
sooner. How many words did I need?
So I'm not going to count solving. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5.
Yeah. Okay.
5 points.
Well, you gave me 5 words, so I think no. Yeah, you're right. It's 5 points.
Yeah. I
Okay.
gave you 6 words, but the 6 words was because I screwed up. So, all right, 9 to 5. All right, there we go.
Not bad. Only 4 points behind on that one. All right.
Not bad. All right, cool. Moving on to our main event, Give It an Hour, where Jeff and I basically play a game each week that we recommend to each other in most cases, and we have to decide whether we're going to add it to our backlog or not. This week, Jeff and I played Oxenfree. So Jeff, why don't you start us off with your playthrough of Oxenfree for an hour?
Great. I had some points on one of the websites, so I picked it up for PC for about $1.50, so that wasn't too bad.
Nice.
Wonderful voice acting I didn't see coming whatsoever. Like I watched the trailer for this game and it was like all aesthetic and music, and so I thought it was going to be like a silent game, and if anything there'd be dialogue boxes. So that was a really pleasant surprise.
Right.
Like I think if you watch the video of me playing it, when they start talking before anything starts, I was like, did I leave a video on in the background? Like I really don't know what's going on. But it faded into it nicely.
Nice.
All of the characters had really strong personalities, likable or not, because some of them you weren't designed to like Claire.
Okay, gotcha.
Movement, I really liked that it was on a 3D landscape, but some of it felt really clunky. And then for some reason, it really bothered me that when you were talking to someone, that if you weren't moving the controller, it didn't turn to face them. So sometimes you didn't realize who you were talking to until they responded.
Right.
I liked the simplicity of just having a blank speech bubble above who was talking. That way it made it absolutely clear.
Yeah, that was cool.
Who was there without having to type out every word they were saying as they were saying it. I played with a controller, and for some reason when I brought up the keyboard, I wasn't able to select any of the options. I had to switch to mouse and a keyboard, so that was super weird.
Oh, weird, yeah.
I had a moment in the game where it stopped me from progressing anymore. It's the part where you get... I don't know which path you took, but I went with the boys to the cave.
I did too. I took that path, yeah.
And once I jumped off the ledge after Ren revealed that he was too high from the cupcake to do anything. Also, no one gets that high that quickly from an edible. So he should have taken it when they got there.
Right.
Anyway, I think I jumped up before his dialogue was ready for it. And my character just stood there and he wasn't talking and I wasn't talking and I couldn't move. So I had to restart. And it took me back like 15 minutes because you had to do the whole beach scene again.
Oh my god.
And so I did a little bit of different takes. I almost decided to stay to see what that would have done because it does have branching storylines. But I went with them again. I got into the cave, and that's when I think the story really starts to take place.
Nice.
I'm super intrigued by the characters. The story is interesting so far, but I feel like I only made like half an hour of progress because I had to go back.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I think I have less than of an idea what's going on.
Right.
But I really did like the game, and I think I'm gonna continue it.
Cool. That's
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah, I
yeah.
all I can say is Clariska can go screw herself.
Like, but did you get to the part where they revealed the reason that she was like so cold? Like,
Um, I mean, I got to the point of where you go through that whole like time warp continuum thing, and you get to
got
like the
okay, I
top of the
didn't even get
tower.
that far.
Oh, okay.
I got to the tower, but
Yeah,
like,
that's where I got.
it really wasn't explained. But like, I really felt sympathetic for her once you realized that she dated your brother.
Yeah, and he had passed away.
And yeah, and he had passed away.
Right.
And your character tried to be like, it was for a minute, and your friend's like, it was for several months, about a year
Right, right,
ago.
right, right.
And so yeah, that was really important. And so I think everyone has a really nice driving motivation. So even if the character sucks, like
Right,
Claire does,
right, right.
like you could see why she sucks.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. I mean, it was funny though, because like Clarissa was like being a complete bitch, and I was like, fine, I'm gonna be a bitch back. So I just said like some mean shit right back. I was just having fun with it, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I totally agree with like all the dialogue, acting. It was excellent. It was really good acting. I did feel like though sometimes the conversations dragged on for a little bit too long.
I agree.
Where I was just like, okay, I get it. Like we're just having a conversation.
Especially replaying it, I'm like, I don't
Oh my
fucking
god.
care.
Yeah, the replayability. I just could not imagine like wanting to play this again.
No.
Even with the idea that there's other alternate storylines or
Yeah.
story structures, but the voice acting was great, and I
Yeah.
didn't also like the fact that I would try to respond after they were done finishing their conversation, but then you'd end up missing the opportunity to answer because you'd be like jumping over their dialogue and you'd miss
Yeah,
of what they were
I
saying.
really hated that it felt like I was interrupting every time
Yeah,
I was speaking.
I hated that
And so
shit.
when you would try to listen to the rest of it, it would go away and your character would stay silent.
Yeah, and I was like,
They had a couple of moments where you picked and it did wait a few seconds.
right, right.
I wish it did that more
Yeah,
often.
me too. I feel like the dialogue in that sense, like the writing was kind of, I don't know, it didn't feel natural. It felt unintuitive. Like I was like, am I supposed to jump in now? Or am I gonna miss something if I cut them off? Like, you know, you just
Yeah.
were never sure if you were gonna miss something, and I didn't like that about the game specifically. But the art style was really cool. I liked how it looked kind of hand drawn in the background, and everybody kind of looked a little more like animated. I agree with the speech bubbles. That was really cool.
Yeah.
I'm really interesting to see like the different ways you can do the puzzles with the radio. The radio was pretty cool. Like that was
Yeah,
awesome.
it was actually it was simple.
Yeah,
But yeah, I really like that.
because it inspires, I think, like you to just to kind of screw around with it. Like, what if I
Yeah.
stand here? Like, what's because like in the cave there was like those rocks, and it's like, well, there's a lot of things in this world that just look like a stack of rocks. Like, what happens if you just turn the radio on at certain points? Like, well, here's a door. What if I just turn the radio on and see what happens? Um, and yeah, so there was that. It was a little weird trying to like figure out the map at first, but then eventually I got the hang of it because I got to the tower and then I figured out where I had to go after that. I had to go to the woods
Got
to
it.
find Ren. So I got pretty close to the woods. I think we got just before the woods actually. Before my time was up, we had to figure out how to fix a one of those ferries. It was like a military ferry or something. I had to fix that.
Okay.
And it was like the system wasn't working or something. So I had to like I think we had to go back and find parts or something. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna add this to my backlog though. As interesting as like the story is, it's also not interesting enough to me right now. I couldn't really connect with a lot of the characters for some reason. Um,
It gave me like a real so far a Goonies Stranger Things vibe. So if you're not like I don't know if you're
yeah,
into those, but
I
like if you
loved Stranger Things. I loved the Goonies.
then that's interesting.
Yeah, but it just didn't feel like retro, I guess, like or enough or something. It didn't feel vintage.
Mm.
It just felt like I don't know. I can't really put my finger on what it is about the game that I'm just not really excited about. I think it's just like the long-winded conversations that is just driving me nuts. I think that's
That's
really
fair.
what it is because it was like I just wanted to like play the story, and it
Yeah.
was way too dialogue heavy. Whereas I feel like Disco Elysium does it better because
Yeah.
the conversations are more interesting. You have no idea where those conversations are going, and you actually do feel like your conversations have some more like levity,
Hmm.
um, and not levity, meaning, I guess.
Yeah. There were a couple times in that where I'm like, why am I asking about this?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I was in a pawn shop and I'm like, there's a bit too much here. But for Disco Elysium.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Because like sometimes you pick everything because you don't know what's going to be important later.
True.
But like the good stuff's great. But for Oxenfree, I get that. It's a lot.
Yeah, I guess I'm just not in the mood for something like that right now.
Got it. So
So
you don't think you're going to play the second one either?
correct. Unless for some reason, I mean, that's the thing. Oxenfree got a 9, I think, on average.
No, it's like it's got incredible reviews.
Yeah,
so I think something's going to come up.
Yeah, so I don't know. At some point, I might jump back in and maybe add it to my backlog. But right now, I'm just getting. I'm it's funny because I'm actually looking at my Gaia choices, and I'm actually becoming very picky. Like I've said no to a lot this year, and I think it's just because of my time. And now that I'm working again, that my brain, I think, is trying to not like overwhelm myself as much. So I'm just taking in less. Unless this game really hooks me, and I'm like, holy crap, this is amazing. I think I'm just gonna say no to it just because of my time. But
that's right. Like, and honestly, what drove me to eventually say yes is the fact that it's only 4.5 hours.
Oh,
yeah,
I didn't know that.
I went on to howlongtobeat.com and I'm like, okay, honestly, I think that influenced my final answer. I'm like, 4.5 hours, I could knock that out in like a night or two.
Yeah, like I was gonna say like I could knock that out in a week.
Yeah,
easy.
So like that, I hate that I take that into account now. Like when what game did I text you about? Oh, it was Days Gone.
Yes.
Like that's 48 fucking hours.
You're like, fuck that.
Because I was listening to Greg Miller talk about it, and he's like, it's just dragged on and on. I'm like, okay, how long was it? Because I felt the same way about some parts of The Last of Us 2.
Right.
Like it's more than double Last of Us 2. How do you make this story last? That's 4 seasons of a TV show.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Yeah, so I don't know with that information, that I may have to have an update later then, because that's like I'm already like a quarter of the way through the game.
I know, right? Like that's how I felt about what's the one with the shadow part of me?
Oh, shady part of me. Yeah.
So yeah, I think when we do the eventual episode where we talk about our backlog or our Give It an Hour games and revisit them, I think a lot of my answers are going to change to no.
Right. Right.
But in the moment, playing this and looking at how easily I could probably tackle this,
that's
I think
fair.
I could do it.
That and the story is intriguing. Don't get me wrong. Like the use of the radio and it having some kind of like connection with like a whole nother world or some kind of like alternate reality. That's very intriguing. So we'll see. I'm just gonna hold off for now, and I think I might change my mind later, especially with that information. So that actually kind of helps, really, to be honest.
Yeah.
I really think we should actually do it. I think we talked about it. We should do an episode where we specifically talk about games that are
5 hours or less.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're super, like the best games to play in under this amount of time.
Yeah,
with
that'd be a lot of fun
with your crappy
and like honestly,
schedules.
it could open my eyes to games I want to knock out.
Yeah,
that's kind of what I'm interested in. Like, I want to like a quick movie is 90 minutes. A quick game is 4.5 hours.
Right.
Which is like watching a whole trilogy.
LOTR extended.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh my god.
If I can watch the extended editions of Lord of the Rings before I can finish your game, I'm less interested to finish your game unless it like really, really gets me.
Right?
Like something like a Spider-Man or a Last of Us.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, unless it's hooking me like to, no end, I'm really just putting it on the back burner.
Yeah, I guess it's a difference between narratives and fun gameplay. Like I can stand a narrative with not great gameplay for 4 to 5 hours, but I can't stand most bad gameplay but interesting narratives for 20, 30, 40 hours.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Cool. So that was our game of the week that we played last week. And we do this every week, and we actually suggest that you join us every week as well. We put a post on our social medias, and we just ask you to play the game for an hour and then send us a review, and we'll read it on the show. Which we didn't get any this week, but we do occasionally, which is nice. But this week we're going to change it up a little bit. We're going to be picking a game off of our own backlog and try it out for an hour. So this week I'm going to be trying out Donut County, which is technically Jeff owns it, but it's his backlog is also my backlog to an extent.
I know, we share backlogs.
We share backlogs, which is kind of it's kind of like we have kids or something, and we're like taking turns on the weekends. But I'm gonna be playing Donut County because I've heard really good things about it. I've heard it's a chill, just easy to play game. I heard it's really cool. So what about you, Jeff?
I'm gonna be playing a game called Telling Lies, which is the follow-up to a game called Her Story,
Cool.
from Ep.49 Interactive.
Nice.
And so the way the game works is it uses live-action full video of 4 people as part of video calls made between them, and the player will need to use tools provided from the game to piece together events and statements that might be lies to determine the overall mystery.
Interesting.
I've heard like the reviews aren't great, but I've heard like industry professionals call this like the game of the year for them.
Wow.
Because I think it just does something new and different. So I'm really
Yeah.
excited to try that.
That sounds intriguing, actually. I'm curious. I'm actually I'll probably end up watching your Gaia because of that.
For once. Like,
Yeah, for once. Yeah,
I think
exactly.
I watched your Final Fantasy VII one.
Yeah, because that meant a lot to you.
Yeah, I know. I was like, I want him to like
Please
it.
like it. And it's on my backlog, so we'll see how long it lasts. I just need to get to Cloud. Was it Cloud City or what's it called? Something City. What's the first town you come to?
For Final Fantasy VII?
Yeah. What's the name of like the first area? Is there like a name of it, or does it not?
Midgar? I don't know. I don't think it's Midgar. Anyway.
Yeah,
I don't know why that escapes me.
I got to get to the open world to actually make the decision. So
yeah, there was a quick comment on Oxenfree by Robbie U621 on Instagram. He just said it was an interesting quick platinum. I definitely play a sequel.
Oh, I missed that. I'm sorry, Robbie.
So I wonder if the platinum's not even that much further to get. But you're also playing on Switch, so what's it matter to you?
Yeah, it doesn't at all. Anyway, so there you go. So that's our show, everybody. As a reminder, we are on all the socials, on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube here that you're watching. And we're also on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts, iTunes.
We're on all of them.
We're on everything. You can watch, you can listen, do whatever you want. And as a reminder, we are going to be streaming live on YouTube next episode, so be there for the 50th anniversary. It's going to be really fun. We're going to be playing a bunch of games. We're going to have a bunch of guests. It's going to be awesome. And Jeff, where can everybody find you?
I am Zavadabadoo on all the social medias, and for now, Twitch. I'm debating moving over mine to YouTube as well.
Nice.
But I'm also Zavadabadoo on YouTube, so.
So there you go. So wherever you go, he'll be there. And you can find me everywhere as well as Adventure Hawkins, and except on Twitter, it's Adventure without the E. I have a link tree there, so you can pretty much find everything else there as well. So there you go. So I have a joke for you before we take off for the evening or the day or whenever you're listening.
Do it.
Here we go. So my doctor told me, relax, David. It's just a small surgery. Don't panic. But my name isn't David. I know. I'm David.
That was half pity laugh, but half like fine. It was good.
So do I count out or?
You get to count out.
5, 6, 7, 8.